Good morning. Today's topic is toxic friendships, but it's not just toxic friendships, it's friendships in general. And I've been thinking a lot about this, especially because the Super Bowl was just last week, Sunday. And I remember last year we were invited to this awesome Super Bowl party. It was going to be phenomenal, especially because our beloved Eagles were in it and they ended up winning it. And I was planning on making food, and we were all going to go and enjoy. And we woke up that morning and it was a snowstorm. And it wasn't horrible, but the fact of the matter is that our friends, good friends, longtime friends, they have moved far away. Not far, but we would have had to get on a major highway to get there and then take off the highway and go through back roads to get to their house. They moved to the big time suburbs. And that's not their fault. But we had to make a decision. Was it worth risking our safety to go to the party as much as we wanted to? So we called our friends and made the decision, and they were very understanding. They understand. They decided they chose where they want to live, and it's a beautiful house. But the fact of the matter is, in bad weather, people are not going to attend a party. You're not going to put your life at risk for a party as much as you would like to be there. And so they were very nice about it. We ended up texting during the game. And so we sort of experienced the game with them. And then when the Eagles won, we called and we were hooting and hollering. But it would have been nice to have been there. But again, we made a decision based on our safety and our comfort zone. We did not want to be driving in this bad weather. And when you talk about good friends should understand when you don't want to do something that you are not, first of all, good at or is extremely inconvenient, would turn your life upside down to do. And so that's the first part of this show is long distance relationships and how to navigate them. And I'll tell you, in today's society with Facebook and FaceTime and texting and instant messaging, you can keep in touch with people who have chosen to move away. And I think what happens is when you do want to see each other in person, well, sometimes people stand their ground. They say, well, you come visit me. I'm guilty of that, and so are some of my long distance friends. And I've been invited to go to a lot of places, really cool places, actually. I've been invited to 3 different places in Florida to visit friends. I've been invited to 2 different places in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, all great places. And I've been invited to Palm Springs, California, all great places. The only problem is I need to get on a plane to do it. And for me to get on a plane, especially if my husband is not going to take vacation time to come with me, we do have some serious issues. The first and foremost is the fact that we need a dog sitter, someone that we really trust to come into our home and take care of our dog. Now, if I go alone, then my husband still has to go to work, and the dog will end up being in her crate 8 hours a day, and that's not cool for my dog, because when we leave our house we put our dog in her crate for her safety, so that God forbid if there's an emergency in the house, the emergency responders, God forbid a fire or something like that, they know where the dog is, and the dog is contained, so she's not running all over the place. And she's easily accessible to get out of the house in an emergency. And plus, she enjoys being in her crate. She does, but she doesn't like being in her crate for long periods of time. So that would be a problem. It's also a problem that I live an hour and a half away from 2 different airports. But my husband, I don't drive, would have to drive me to the airport, which means he would have to take off a couple hours of work because it's an hour and a half one way. It's a 3-hour drive. And he'd have to do this twice. So that's inconvenient. And of course, the other issue is that being married, I don't want to go away on a plane and leave my husband at home. Because here's the thing, and you ladies who are married or you men who are married, you understand this. If I do it, then there's a really good chance that my husband may say, well, one of my friends just invited me to come to Vegas with him, and I think I'm going to go. I'm going to take money out of our bank account and go to Vegas for a couple days. Well, see, I wouldn't like that. And the fact that I wouldn't like it, that means that I also probably shouldn't do it. Go off for a girls' weekend or whatever, because then my husband's going to say, well, you did it. Now I get to do it. And of course, I would have to say, yeah, you're right, but I wouldn't like it. I'm kind of old school about that. I think that if it's considered a vacation, that the couple should go together. I don't want my husband taking a vacation without me, and I really don't want to go off traveling without him. So, also, traveling, especially by plane, makes me very uncomfortable. And all of my friends know this. They know I don't fly. Now, most of my friends are frequent flyers. They have no problem jumping on a plane. And again, when you're looking at who's the one who's going to do the traveling, you have to think about who's the one whose life will be most interrupted by the traveling. If I leave this house and get on a plane, my dog's life is going to change for as long as I'm gone. My husband is going to have to do more stuff around the house, take care of the dog, uh, come home in the middle of the day to check on the dog who's in her crate. Um, and he's going to have to lose a little bit of time at work driving me to and from the airport. But if I have a friend who has no husband, no pets, and just simply has to take a couple of paid vacation days and is used to flying and gets on a plane, well, it's much easier for that person to travel. And especially if that person is used to traveling. And if that person lives 40 minutes from an airport instead of an hour and a half, it's just easier, much easier. And there is issues with if you go to visit a friend and they take off work, but then work calls and there's an emergency and then you're stuck because your friend's going to go to work and you're stuck in a place you're not familiar with and you don't have a car, and what do you do? That's not really fair either, since you spent money to fly down or up or over, and then your friend spends the entire visit dealing with work emergencies. I feel if somebody has paid vacation, then how about take your paid vacation, come on up here and visit me, because first of all, I don't have any work responsibilities. I just have to feed my dog every day and pick up dog shit. Once that's done, I can spend all my time with you. And there will be no one to interrupt us. I can definitely suspend this show for a couple of days and entertain and have fun with my friend and give them my full attention. And I think that's what a lot of people that at least I've seen so many things on Facebook recently where people are like, I've been texting you, I've been calling you, I've been, I'm going to put this on here one more time on Facebook. If you don't respond, we're done. One of my viewers recently posted something about the fact that, these longtime friends, they no longer seem to have time for her anymore. And, she put it on public Facebook, so I guess I can say, so that my friends don't think I'm talking about them. Jess, you had written before that you had been having some issues with friends that basically expect you to be there for them, but they're not there for you. And I agree. That does happen. And so I'm going to do this. This is what I'm going to do right now. This right here. Okay? This is what a friendship should look like. You should both be equal. And the second that a friend ever makes you feel like they're more important than you are, or their time is more important than yours, or their schedule is more important than yours, if a friend calls you or texts you and says, yeah, let's do dinner, I'll send you some dates. where I'm available. And you're kind of like, wait a minute. What, I'm just supposed to fit into your schedule? Well, that puts the friend up here and you down here because you're fitting into their schedule. Like they don't think that you have a schedule or that your time isn't as important as theirs. And it could be true. Look, I got to tell you, people with kids, people who have to get babysitters to go out to dinner, people who do have very important jobs, that there could be an emergency at work, or people who work in the medical field. I get it. I get it. There's a good chance that our plans could be canceled. Because I'm just a little old housewife that does a talk show on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and soon to have my own website, which is going to be amazing. I'm nobody. And you have this big important job, and you have children, and I don't, and blah, 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 blah. But again, you're up here now, and I'm down here. Not cool. Now, there's a way to deal with that. What you do is, if a friend says to you, I'm going to give you some dates when I'm available, well, then you say, well, okay, here's your friend who said, this is when I can have time for you. And then you go, well, you know what? A couple of those dates don't work for me. How about this date? This works for me. And by the way, I'm going to choose the restaurant. There you go. You're back, equal footing. You're saying, I respect that you have a schedule, but I also want some input. Equal. If you have a friend who is constantly criticizing every decision you make, whether it be your boyfriend or your husband or where you live or something you bought or what you're wearing, if they are constantly criticizing you, well, they have become your mommy. And anybody want your friends to be your mommy? I mean, I don't have a mother, but I'm also not looking for a new one. I'm not looking for a substitute mother. So I don't need my friends to lecture me or be critical of the way I dress or the decisions that I make. I'm an adult. If I ask them for their advice, that's one thing. But if everything I tell them that's going on, they initiate this lecture about how, well, did you do this? Did you do that? Or I wouldn't do that. Or, oh my God, you're really trusting this guy. Or this is a terrible decision. That person is making you feel less than. Like they're better than you. Like they know more than you. Like they're smarter than you. Like you can't do it on your own. That's probably a toxic friendship. If someone that is always seeming embarrassed of you, like, you know, you're going out and they're like, well, my work friends are coming. You're not wearing that, are you? Well, first of all, I don't know your work friends, and after tonight, I'm probably never going to see them again. Why do you care what I'm wearing? Or they give you the lecture of what you're allowed to talk about when you're around their new friends or their workmates. You know what? If your good friend is acting like they have to give you lessons in how to behave when you're meeting some other friends of theirs, they're obviously embarrassed of you. And therefore, maybe they're not as good of a friend as you thought they were. Okay? Again, if they make you feel less than. I always love the so-called friends who are like, oh my God, look what she's wearing. Sometimes they'll say it to my face, and sometimes I hear that they've done it behind my back. And the real problem is that they can't wear what I'm wearing and pull it off the way I can pull it off. Because I'm the one who did the work. I'm the one who lost 50 pounds. I'm the one who went running and did the Dance Dance Revolution and swam 12 laps in the pool. I work to get to look like I do. So I believe that if I feel good in what I'm wearing, it's none of their damn business. But as soon as their husband says, damn, Paula looking good today, all of a sudden my so-called friend is hating on me. Well, oh my God, what does she think she is? Britney Spears? What does she think she's doing, dressing like a 10-year-old? You know what? If the outfit fits, and I look good and I feel good, that's who I dress for. I dress for me. I don't dress for you. I'm certainly not dressing for your husband. I don't even dress for my own husband. I dress what makes me happy. I dress for what makes me comfortable. You don't like it and you're going to criticize me about it? Well, that's called the jealousy friend, the friend who is jealous. The friend who will try to put little hints out that your husband may be looking at another girl, or, oh, I saw Jason in the boat with a woman. Yeah, that was my cousin, asshole. He was telling her and her boyfriend that they could hang out on our boat. But they're so happy to give you bad news. That's a toxic friend. When they're happy to tell you something bad that they think you just need to know. Like, your husband was at the bar last night and oh my God, this guy came up to him and said that your husband was coming on to his girlfriend. They almost got in a fight. Well, you know what? I talked to my husband. Guess what? It was a mistake and everything was taken care of. And my husband never came on to anybody. And you know what? If I can't trust my husband, then shame on me for marrying him. You're not going to get me that way. People told me people are going to be jealous if you have a happy marriage. They're going to try to ruin it. That's not a friend. Any friend who takes joy in you being miserable or can't wait to tell you the news that's going to make you miserable, that's toxic friendship. And let's have a little bit of fun. Let's talk about destination weddings. Any of you been invited to a destination wedding? I mean, what is more terrifying and frustrating and annoying than your friend coming to you and saying, guess what, I'm getting married. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Yeah, we're getting married in England. And it just won't be good if you're not there. You have to come. Really? Or we're getting married in the Bahamas. Yeah. So wait, not only do I have to give you a gift, but now I have to get a passport. My husband has to take off paid vacation, where we had other plans for our paid vacation, but now we have to take a paid vacation, go to a place we have no desire to go to, and we can only pack 3 ounces of liquids, toothpaste in a gallon baggie, and we have to be strip searched at the airport. Oh my God, I just can't wait for your wedding. You know what? If any of your friends choose to do a destination wedding and then drop you as a friend because you refuse to go, well, screw them. People who choose to get married in a foreign country or anywhere where it requires guests to spend money and take time off work to come to the wedding, they should understand. They should understand when someone says, I'm so happy for you, but can't come to the wedding. So sorry. We just can't do it. I love it when people are like, well, if you can't afford it, well, we can pay your airfare and you just have to pay for the hotel room and your drinks and your food and still bring a gift. You know what? That's condescending. Don't assume I can't afford to go somewhere. Assume that maybe my husband and I have already made plans for his 2 weeks vacation he gets paid per year. And it didn't include England or California or Florida or the Bahamas. It didn't include a plane ride. My husband and I don't really like to fly. So we're driving. We're going to the Jersey Shore. We're going to Atlantic City. We're going to Maine. We're going to drive up the coast. Whatever. Again, a good friend will understand that they're the ones that are putting their friends in an inconvenient situation. Expecting friends just because of a friendship to spend a lot more money than it would cost to just get a nice dress and show up at a church and then a reception hall locally. If a bride moves away and meets a man like 6,000 miles away, usually the wedding takes place in the bride's hometown. That's the way it works. And then some people come, some people don't. So anyway, destination weddings, I say this. If a friend breaks up with you because you won't go to another country to see them get married, that might be a friendship you might want to end, because again, they're making you feel less than because you can't live up to their expectations and spend a lot of money to get to their wedding. It's sad. It is sad to break up with a friend. But if you have one friend that you know that if you call them, no matter what they're doing, if they're in a business meeting, whatever, that they will pick up that phone. If you text a friend and say, I really need to talk, they will text you back that day. It won't take a week or two to respond. And also a friend that will listen to you as well as you listening to them. You've got to be equal with that. It can't always be the friend is always talking and it's always about them and never, oh, by the way, how are you doing? It has to be equal. Friends have to care about each other. It can't always be one-sided. It's got to be give and take. And if one friend is always taking and the other is always giving, that's not an equal relationship. And they may very well be a toxic one. And you have to decide. I recently just saw something on TV where someone said, surround yourselves with people who make you feel good about yourself, who support you, even though they may not agree with all of your decisions, they will support you, that are there for you when you fall, and cry with you when you fall, and will celebrate when you succeed. We all know that there are friends who actually cry when we succeed and celebrate when we fail. That's a toxic friendship, and it's one that needs to be ended. And it's not easy to do, but I swear to God, I have ended certain relationships with people, and my husband has said to me, well, you know, that's a shame. You had that stupid argument last Memorial Day. Don't you miss that friend? This happened at the beach. And I said, no, actually, I don't. I mean, we're still cordial to each other, but we're not BFFs like we used to be. And I said, no, I don't. I said, because first of all, I feel that I made the right decision because of the way I was treated. And then there's another situation with a family member who stopped talking to me, oh my gosh, like 7 years ago. And again, I felt that I was right in my reaction to a situation where her child did damage in my home. And my husband says, well, don't you miss her? And I'm like, no, I don't. Because the relationship was one-sided. I was always giving, she was always taking, and at the end of the day, she took advantage of my home, bringing her child here, knowing her child didn't like being here. She had a disabled child, and her child did some serious damage to my home. So we're talking breaking glass and kicking drywall. So again, I said, kid can't come to my house anymore, and she cut off the relationship. It's like, fine, cut off the relationship. I'm good with that. You will know when it's time to end a friendship. And again, what I've told you is if you get off the phone with someone and you feel worse about yourself than you did when the conversation started, that's probably a toxic friend. If your friends make you feel stupid or unattractive or are constantly putting you down or trying to make you question your relationships or your decisions, probably a toxic friend. And if your friends act like they are embarrassed by you, they try to tell you in advance, well, now you're coming to the party, but you can't talk about this and you can't mention this and you're not wearing that. That's time to end the friendship. We're all adults. And when our friendships turn into high school or junior high school or elementary school again, it's probably time to end the friendship. But really true friends, you will know who they are. I think in your gut you'll know. And if you only have one really true friend that you can count on, then you count yourself as lucky, because there's a lot of pretenders out there. There are people who want to be your friend. And actually, real quick, I know the show's a little long, but I want to read something to you from my journal. And I wrote this. It's a quote from the series Revenge, and it's about loyalty. And it's very, very interesting. It's from Revenge. It was on a while ago, but let me just end by reading this. Always question where your loyalties lie. The people you trust will expect it. Your greatest enemies will desire it. Those you treasure most will without fail abuse it. Some say loyalty inspires boundless hope. And while that may be true, there's a catch. True loyalty takes years to build and only seconds to destroy. Political Paula, out.